In 1836, at the Montpelier estate, James Madison, an 85-year-old man, sat in a wheelchair, gazing out of the window as the mist gradually enveloped the red soil of Virginia. His trembling fingers caressed the faded draft of the Constitution, and the dense annotations seemed to tell the story of his lifelong obsession and confusion. This fourth president of the United States, known as the Father of the Constitution, was at this moment like a lost traveler, searching for an exit in the maze of constitutional ideals and political realities. In 1751, James Madison was born in Orange County, Virginia. Due to his frail health in childhood, he spent most of his time curled up in his father's study. By the age of 12, he had already finished reading John Locke's two treatises of government and Montesquieu's The Spirit of the Laws. While George Washington was dealing with the French army on the frontier, the 16-year-old Madison was attending the Enlightenment classes given by Professor John Witherspoon at the College of New Jersey, now Princeton University. He wrote in his diary, "The true essence of freedom lies in the balance of powers, rather than the concentration of power." In 1776, while Thomas Jefferson was drafting the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, the 25-year-old Madison was participating in the formulation of the state constitution as a representative of Virginia. He first met Washington at the Continental Congress. The general's taciturnity was in sharp contrast to Jefferson's passionate enthusiasm. Madison later recalled, "Washington's presence made me understand that a true leader is a rock of action, while Jefferson's ideas are a torch that illuminates the way forward." In Philadelphia in 1787, 55 delegates were engaged in endless arguments in the stuffy Assembly Hall. Madison came alone with 400 pages of notes, and his Virginia plan became the blueprint for the Constitution. When Benjamin Franklin proposed the establishment of a presidential veto power, Madison stood up in opposition, saying, "The boundaries of power must be as clear as a knife. Otherwise, freedom will become a sacrifice to tyranny." His insistence led to the final establishment of the framework of the separation of powers among the three branches of government in the Constitution. During the Constitutional Convention, the debates between Madison and Alexander Hamilton became a classic. Hamilton advocated strengthening the federal government, while Madison warned, excessive centralization of power will devour the freedom of the states. In the late-night taverns, the two often argued until dawn. The foam rising in their beer glasses was like the sparks of their clashing ideas. In the end, Madison compromised. He understood that the Constitution was an art of compromise, but the conflict in his heart never subsided. In 1809, when Madison moved into the president's house, the building still bore the charred marks left by the British Army's burning. As Jefferson's Secretary of State and successor, he faced a thorny diplomatic crisis. When British warships intercepted American merchant ships on the high seas, Madison was caught in a dilemma. Declaring war on Britain might violate the constitutional restrictions on presidential power, but if he did not resist, the nation's dignity would be completely lost. During the War of 1812, Madison rode to the front line in person. His horse panicked and galloped wildly amidst the hail of gunfire. When he returned to the president's house exhausted, Dolly Madison took off his dirty coat and said softly, "James, you are defending not only the country, but also the dignity of the Constitution." These words reminded him of the oath he took at the Constitutional Convention, but they also made him painfully aware that sometimes, in order to safeguard the Constitution, one had to temporarily set aside its constraints. After his retirement, Madison dedicated himself to organizing constitutional documents at the Montpelier estate. His correspondence with Jefferson never ceased. In their letters, the two old men discussed the evil of slavery, but were unable to take action due to the shackles of reality. Madison wrote to Jefferson, "We sowed the seeds of freedom, but let them grow distorted in the shadow of slavery." On June 28, 1836, Madison passed away peacefully in his sleep at Montpelier. His funeral was simple yet solemn, and the coffin was covered with the Constitution that he had participated in drafting. When the funeral procession passed by the cabins of the enslaved people, several elderly slaves silently took off their hats. Perhaps they did not know that this frail and sickly president had left a faint hope for their freedom in the words of the Constitution. Madison's life was an eternal tug-of-war between constitutional ideals and political realities. He used his wisdom to construct the constitutional framework of the United States, but lost his way in the mist of reality. As he said in his will, "The Constitution is not a perfect code, but an endless dialogue." And the mist of Montpelier will forever shroud the profound struggles of this father of the Constitution between ideals and reality.